Hello and welcome back to the Tiki Live Help Desk. Today we're going to show you how you're able to make your own background image while using Adobe's Photoshop program. It's actually quite simple. All you need is your own select choice of colors and a logo. Granted, you will actually need the program itself, but besides that, it's fairly simple. Basically, it allows you to create your own background image for your channel that can reflect your actual web page or business. It can even utilize your own logo. It even transfers the professionalism of your site while actually using the logo, that way you can have the same branding. Now we're going to actually show you how you're able to make a simple background with your own personalized logo in Adobe's programming. Today we're going to show you how you're able to make your own background for your Tiki Live channel page by using Photoshop. The one thing you're really going to need to start out with is your own personal logo. You're going to pick the colors from the bottom corner. They can be whatever you want to be, but in the case of Tiki Live, we're going to stick to the blue color scheme. First, you'll want to go to File and New and create a new page. It'll start out as a blank document, and from here you can do it simple enough as doing a color fill for the entire page on a color. Switch to a different color, and you can go ahead using the brush tool, adding any design you want. Personally, I like to turn the opacity down, that way you can go over it as many times as you want to get it that certain color. And we're just going to do simple streaks across the page for this background. You can go over it multiple times with low opacity, that way you can make the color brighter where you want it to, or just more vibrant. Next, what you want to do is to actually blend the colors, that way it doesn't look so blocky, is go to the smudge tool. I highly recommend lowering the strength, especially if you're using a mouse, that way you can get better control of what you're actually doing to the colors in the page. Just go along the outside where two different colors meet and keep going over it until they sort of blend together. The smudging will give it sort of a gradient look, that way it goes from one color to the next without being too subtle. You can go over it multiple times, this will give it a better look and more definition. Just go ahead and do this for the entire page wherever the colors don't look right, and we can fix any touch-ups later. Next, you'll want to go back to that same smudge option, right-click, and select Blur. You can make this one a little stronger in strength, usually 50% is fine, and you can even make the brush bigger as well. Go over the outside of where you're smudging it, and just make any small corrections that look like they need any fine-tuning. This blurs everything together so it looks blended and like there isn't so much of a difference between the two different colors where you were smudging it. If you see something big that really needs to be fixed with the smudge tool, you can always go back and do it and then go over the blur again with it later. Do this for the entire page, and then when you're done, I always suggest zooming in or zooming out, that way you can get a whole picture look at it and see if there's anything that needs to be fixed. When it's finished, go to your open logo file. You want to select the marquee tool and go over the entire logo. You can do it by bits and pieces here, or you can go ahead and do that later while it's on the actual background image page. You're going to go to Edit, Copy, then back to your background image, Edit, and Paste. You can always use the keyboard shortcuts as well. You'll see the logo on the actual image. One thing you will want to keep in mind though is the actual Tiki Live channel page where your content will be displayed will take up most of the middle. So for something long like this Tiki Live logo, you're going to want to have to cut it into pieces and resize it. So in this case, you can select the logo itself with the circle and the palm tree, right click, and do New Layer via Cut. This will put it in its own dedicated layer where you're free to move it around separate from the words itself. You can go ahead and put that in the left side of the picture and then move the words after it. Now remember that the content is still going to take up most of the page, so the words as they are right now probably will be overlapping it. The circle itself of the logo should be fine. You can always resize them by having the marquee tool selected, selecting the layer that you want to change, right-clicking, and free transform. While resizing it, hold the Shift key while you're moving the size, that way it'll stay the same ratio. This way the picture won't look distorted. Commit to the transform and do the same thing for the Tiki Live words. Hold Shift as you're resizing it, and it'll stay the same ratio. Select OK. When you think you have it how you'd like, click File, Save As, and title it what you want, but be sure to change the format from Photoshop PSD to something like JPEG or PNG. Name it and save your file, and you'll be able to actually load it as a background in the theme designer. So open up a new theme or edit an existing one, name it, and go through the process like you normally would. Click Browse for Background and choose the one you just created. You can choose to change the repeat settings or set the background attachment to scroll or fixed. For the page background color, I would select using the main color that you used while creating your background image. To do this, you can go back to Photoshop, double-click on the color, and select the color hex code, copy it, and paste it into this section on the theme designer. You can preview your theme, that way you can see how it looks in the actual page. As you can see, the logo fits almost, but not just enough to where that it won't overlap on the content. It's simple enough to fix. Just go back to Photoshop, select the lettering, free transform, and then resize it. For the actual circle part of the logo, you can see that it fits perfectly inside, but it's moved a little to the left. You can fix this just by doing a free transform or selecting the image and just moving it to the right. You can use the left and right arrow keys to nudge it left or right just by a bit without having to click and drag. This is good for precision. Confirm your changes, then save it as you did before. Re-upload your background image on the theme designer and preview your theme again. You'll see now that it fits a lot better than it did before. The letters are in shape and the logo is centered. There we go. It's colored specifically to your theme, personalized and professional logos, all to show your viewers that you can be and are professional. The background can be whatever you really want. That's one of the great things about Tiki Live though. It can custom brand and reflect your pages to show exactly what you want your content to be. You can create your own backgrounds and schemes and use programs like Photoshop to do it too. Not to mention, you can have it done in minutes. This has been a Tiki Live Help Desk tutorial on using Adobe's Photoshop program to create your own professional background and logo, and we hope you learned a little something new. Keep a lookout for more content coming out soon, and we hope to see you live on Tiki Live.